Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, August 14, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tonight, a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having major transitional steps on the planet. There are many people that are, how do I put it, they're not in sync with who and what they are. So they're copying an imprint is the best way I can put it. Being misdirected and misguided. This whole process here on this planet, as I've said, it is a massive spiritual evolution of the civilization. For instance, if we were to turn on our dormant DNA, right? What do you think? Right in this very moment, what do you believe would occur? Now, since the majority of the civilization hasn't even begun to discover who and what it is, so the majority are living and experiencing the ego mind as their master. What do you think would occur? That all of a sudden or even gradually, your DNA was turned on. It'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? I don't think any of us really would know what was going on. It wouldn't be no different that, let's say, that we had someone step in the celestial chamber and they wanted their brain capacity at full boat, 100%. Now we all know we use less than 9% of our brains now. What do you think would happen? And I'm just talking about somebody who's, starting to get an idea that they're not the body and just beginning to understand that the ego mind is their master and that they're there to master it. Most likely they would implode. In fact, about 99.999% of the time they would implode. It's just like we have a double helix. We've all seen it, right? It's our DNA strand. It's double helix, and looks like a ladder, kind of a spiral ladder. And then we have 12 DNA strands that are dormant. Now figure this out, okay? 12 and 2 is 5. All right. And someone would say, no, 12 and 2. Let's see, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so 12 and 2 is what? 14. What's 4 and 1? 5. What is the frequency density that we're entering into? Fifth dimensional. Fifth density. Okay? So 12 strands of DNA that are dormant, 2 strands that are active, double helix, equals 5. Fifth dimensional frequency. Fifth density. See, all the signs are there. And all of us have the capabilities to discern that, to comprehend that. So we've got, there's I talk about 5 fingers and 5 toes, right? We've got 10 toes, 10 fingers. But on each hand we have 5 appendages. And each foot we have 5 appendages. 5th density, 5th frequency. So the harmonics are already designed with these bodies. We do know that these bodies have been structured for 5th density. That's why we have 5 fingers and 5 toes on each limb. So we begin to understand that, and we kind of laugh about it because we have this. People are coming out of the woodwork talking about crystalline forming and medium interaction and hearing voices and being guided and all these things. See, we are the God. We always have been the God. We've always been the kingdom of God, the heaven, the whatever throughout the ages has been labeled. And the majority of the population on this planet, through man-made religion, has created a deception. And this keeps people away from self-discovery. In order for us, as a civilization, to not only survive this transition, but to flourish, is to discover who and what we are, is to going within. There's no other way. There really isn't. And you cannot, with the current things in place, if you were to, let's say that you could walk into a room and have it all accelerated and all done for you. Right? What would you learn? It's like taking a shortcut. It's like you're going to take a test, right? You take a test, but yet you have somehow been able to get a hold of the test all filled out. Ace it, right? So you have the test and you're filling out, and then you slip the other test on top and you turn it in. What did you learn? Did you learn anything? No. See, these shortcuts that humanity takes, that the species takes in our social structure, when we take shortcuts, we don't learn. Now, obviously, ego mind loves shortcuts. Really does. So that's why we take shortcuts. It's like you say, I'm not going to do it this way. I'll do it this way because then I'll get it done quicker this way. But yet, I do it this way, there's going to be a lot more chances that it's not going to work right. So whether it's called embracing the now. Embracing the now. Because in the now is the only place that we're going to master our ego minds and our thoughts. There's no other way. It's been tried for trillions of years. There's no other way. This is the only way. While we're in these physical material bodies. That's why these meditations, it's a real simple process. These global guided meditation calls are for a real simple, easy fall into comprehension. I give an array of information. The meditator then picks out of that information that resonates with them, focuses upon it, learn about themselves, masters the ego mind, masters their thoughts. This is long term, of course. You're not going to do it in 2 weeks or 3 months. What happens when you know yourself? What happens when you discover who and what you are? What happens when you embrace the God that you are within that body? What happens when you really find out how omnipotently powerful you truly are? Everything changes. Everything shifts. We know this. If you walk around frustrated, what are you going to attract? More frustrated. If you walk around lighthearted and happy, what are you going to attract? Lighthearted and happy. It isn't rocket science. When we focus on what we don't want, right? We get it. When we focus on what we want, excuse me, when we focus on what we want, do we get it? Well, there's areas there that you have to be, you choose to be knowledgeable in, which means that you go within, you're in the now, and then you in detail ask the universe, you're in the heart mind, what you want. Then it'll manifest. If you ever have doubt about that, then it won't manifest. It's cross sport for all of us. One might say, well, you know, my body's going to turn crystalline. How? You got a Karman-based body. How's it going to turn crystalline? And do you know what crystalline is? You'll notice that many of us on this planet expel jargon and use different avenues to convince whatever audience they're projecting it to. And the audience chooses to either believe or not to believe. And when the civilization, each and every one of us, become awakened to the extent where the only answers I'm going to get are within me. That's where all the answers are to my questions. They're not outside of me. I've done that for dozens of years, and that has not come into fruition for me. Just more frustration, more disappointment, more delusionment, more doubt. So, you hear me say this all the time, it's all about you. We're not talking about ego mind you, we're talking about heart mind you. It is all about you. When you know for a fact within yourself that what you manifest, how you manifest it through the heart mind in the now, and with no doubt you're going to have it. It's an automatic. You want a clean, wonderful, joyous, abundant, prosperous, flourishing planet, and you focus on that, and you have no doubt, and it doesn't go through the ego mind, it goes through your heart mind. And how do you get in your heart mind? You practice these meditations. You practice them. You get in the habit of going within You get in the habit of finding a comfortable position where you're not going to be distracted. You begin to breathe. You focus on the breath rising and falling. You relax into the body, and you surrender everything. Your ego mind is not there. Your noise, the mind chatter's not there. Yesterday and tomorrow's not there. Worries are not there. Stress is not there. None of that's there. That all exists in the material physical world with these material physical bodies. When you go into the now, none of that's there. What a place to be. Are you running from it? No. Are you ignoring it? No. Have you ever been in a position where you're deeply into something, have been for some time, right? And you're interacting with others, but you've been so deeply entrenched with it that your perspective is skewed because you can't see it from the outside in. You don't know how to step out of it and watch it and learn from it. And you see a whole different perspective. I understand you're not judging, you're just watching so that you can experience, learn, progress. This is what some of us are doing on this planet. We're stepping out of it. Okay? We've had enough of being in it. Now we want to watch it. And an exterior perspective is much different, as some of you know, than an interior perspective. And this is all by choice, but it's also, you're literally rebooting yourself. You're a reboot. You have wiped your hard drive best you can, and you're rebooting yourself, and now you're self-programming. It's a big difference. You're self-programming. What the heck does that mean? It means that you're choosing what to take in, what to assimilate, what to view, what perspective, what application. And you also have figured out that you're going within, you've decided that you want to go within, and that you're learning, you look at all sides of yourself. The mask that you wear in society, the things that you do, the stories that you have, and you review all that and you surrender it. If you feel within your heart mind that it isn't serving you the greatest good, you just let it go. You don't throw it out in the trash. You just let it go. You surrender it. And if it keeps showing up, you keep surrendering it until it doesn't show up anymore. Might have to do that a few hundred times a day. Without anger, without revenge, without irritation or stress. Remember, you're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times, no matter what's going on. Because your prime directive is love. All of us. Isn't it kind of strange that all the conflict on this planet throughout the ages has been about what? The nucleus, let's say. Other things involved, but let's just go right to the bullseye, the nucleus. Power, control, wealth. Okay? That's what it's been about. We know that one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. It's been done. You ever done that? Yeah, you get a chance down the road. You get a barrel of apples and put one rotten apple in that barrel and see what happens. This is when one being can influence millions. We've seen it. Haven't we seen it throughout the ages? One being can influence millions. Why is that? We don't know how to lead ourselves. We don't know how. Many of us have raw leadership for ourselves, but we don't know how to develop it. We don't know how. So what's the easiest thing that we've chosen? To follow. We've chosen to follow. Not a bad thing. It's not negative. It's a choice. How do we know this? We look around as watchers and we see things, we learn from, we experience, so on and so forth. But we watch things take place, and it shows us that, okay, so there's many followers on the planet. Pretty straight statement, right? One might say, well, what is a follower? What do you mean a follower? Well, this is someone who has decided to follow one other, another being or a group of beings in the direction that they speak of or convey. Right? So then we look at the fact that we say, oh, well, look, we've got these hoodlums and criminals that portray themselves as our leaders. Right? And I think all of you know that come to these meditation calls. So why does it, we ask the question, why are the majority of the people of the planet following them? Right? When all of you don't follow them, to a certain extent. You've chosen not to. Through your experiences with them. Logical choice, right? You're not going to follow someone that's going to lead you off the cliff, are you? Doesn't it make sense that we are omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die? Manifesting machines. Creators of universes, part of the collective consciousness. Does it make any sense that we need to follow? That's a question you would ask yourself. Look how do we know that this is skewed? It's not. It doesn't have the rhythm to follow. Now, some of us are quite lazy, so we follow because we don't care to lead ourselves. That's a choice. It isn't a negative either. It's a choice. Easier to follow than to lead, right? We're not talking about leading a massive army or anything. We're talking about leading yourself. What do you think would occur on this planet if the majority led themselves? Had the responsibility, embraced the responsibility for that. Now here's something. Knew that when they came up to an intersection, that had no lights, then it depended on who wanted to be courteous and who didn't. Okay? But you don't realize that because you have been led for so long, you can't make a decision at an intersection if it had no lights to tell you what to do. So in that instance, those lights are leading you, telling you what to do, because most of the civilization has atrophied on these little things. We do them because it's all we know, but they're little things. Common sense, you come up, you're in a neighborhood, right? You travel up, and then you get onto the main drag, okay? But yet, you have a stop sign telling you to stop. Now, if you were leading yourself, you would have the responsibilities. Oh, I'm going to come up to this intersection, and I'm going to look and make sure that there is no danger to me or my vehicle, and then I'm going to move on. Pretty simple. It's like, let's say you're traveling down a highway, and there's no speed limits. There's no signs telling you what to do. And you're leading yourself, so you know logically that you could only go so fast until you would start putting yourself in danger. You would know that. So you wouldn't be going 130 miles an hour if your vehicle could, or 150 or 160 or 200 miles an hour, because you know that would put you in danger. And that's mostly ego mind anyway. So we would travel freely without any signs, without any lights telling us what to do. Now, see, this is what happens. When we don't choose or embrace our own leadership for ourselves, we atrophy. We don't know it because it's so subtle, but you're told what to do all the time and don't even know it. You're told what to do. Now, this is for some people it's difficult to comprehend, but let's say you're in a busy city. Now, you're not familiar with the city. You don't live there. And it's at a rush hour, so to speak. People getting out and having lunch and going here and there, and kind of like New York City or, the big cities on the planet. And there's no lights telling you what to do. And there's no policeman telling you what to do, directing you. Now, if those people had embraced self-leadership, there'd be nobody getting hit, there'd be no accidents, and there wouldn't be a rat race running around in those cities, totally oblivious to what's going on around them. You see how by external influence a civilization can be put into slavedom and not even know it. Not even a smidgen. Why can that happen? I just explained it. Because most of us do not embrace self-leadership. That's why all this has taken place. We're part of it because we're part of the collective consciousness. We create it to experience. All the stuff that's going on, we're experiencing. What's the purpose of that? You have a comparison. Very powerful. You now have a comparison. Now, when those of us who choose to move into New Earth we will have a comparison. We can reflect back on this time to strengthen our gratitude for New Earth time. It's huge. It's a massive transition, but there is going to be some of us that will embrace it, not fear it, not suppress it, but embrace it. Be really, really, really happy and blissful from within. So in the quiet time of this meditation, ask yourself, and remember, you're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. So you're not attacking yourself or degrading like some people do. You're just asking yourself, have you focused on self-leadership? And sharing this additional information, you understand what the ramifications can be if we don't. And what is your choice? I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out.
Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, focused on the breath, rising and falling. Drop the need to defend yourself, just for this moment. Get curious about the energy that's breathing air through your body. Notice how your lungs naturally allows air to flow in and out of you all day long. There's absolutely no effort needed to breathe. Now, just imagine you have the same relationship with that part of your ego who feels the need to protect and defend your point of view. What if you could allow your deepest defensiveness to effortlessly flow in and flow out of you like your breath does? How would that feel? It'd be like going, I already feel more relaxed getting closer to you. Who knew finding peace with everyone in this universe was so ridiculously easy? Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We'll return here tonight, Wednesday, August 14th, at a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Time for Change call and to delve into truth. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be the highest of the highest, high, deepest of the deepest, deepest, purest of the purest, purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. Eventually, we should all be in a state of perpetual gratitude. We'll also return here Thursday, August 15, to continue our global guided meditation call after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. No matter what's going on out there or in here, open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.